guys, we are from
Group 6.
So today we are conducting the experiment about the spinal reflex and human reaction.
Our experiment objectives are to observe the knee reaction of patellar reflex, to observe the ankle reaction of Achilles reflex, the swallowing reflex, and the reaction time to touch and decide between examiners and subject. So there are actually 4 objectives in total. So let's get going.
Sit down. Yes. Can you put specific? This one. Okay, please put the debit one and make sure your hit is the relax. Okay. You know, try to this is love it. I but this is the game.
This might give a nice pop in the end.
Okay, I think that's all, and I think your knee is just fine.
So what is your problem?
I sprained my ankle.
Oh, I see, you sprained your ankle. So I will do a quick checkup. So okay, just come in here. Alright. Usually I will take off your shoe, and I will tap on your Achilles tendon to see if there are any reaction. Okay, there is reaction. Then I will tap for 2 taps per second to see if working perfectly. Alright, it's all good. So I think you are good. So hello guys, today I will do the experiment. Firstly, I will swallow my saliva, and immediately afterwards I will swallow my saliva immediately. And next I will repeat the experiment and drink this glass of water and see the result. Okay, I will proceed with the first experiment. As you can see, it's very hard to swallow my saliva, and then I will do the second experiment. As you can see, it's much easier to swallow my saliva with this when I'm drinking this water.
My reaction time is fast.
How about we put that on test right now? Okay. So firstly, we're gonna have a stopwatch at our hand. So we're gonna start the stopwatch simultaneously. So, okay, like that. And when I stop the stopwatch, we're gonna stop it. And then we're gonna compare the time that we got for our stopwatch. Okay.
1, 2, 3. Berapa?
Wow, Ijat, your reaction time is very fast, like with 7 turn. Wow, thank you. Wow.
Hi, you want to play a game? What game? It's a game of reflex. Here, take this stopwatch. You have to close your eyes and then we both start our stopwatch simultaneously. Okay. Then, when I tap your foot, I'll start my stopwatch. And then, when you feel my foot, you need to stop your stopwatch. And then we'll compare our time. Okay? Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Wow, that's so fun.
No, right? Now, let's answer question for experiment 5.3.
So, swallowing require a coordinated reflex. Rapid swallowing adjusts saliva and disrupt the reflex, making it harder. Swallowing starts as voluntary action, but once initiated, the process transitions into an involuntary reflex. So, water will stimulate the swallowing reflex more efficiently, as it activates receptors in the throat, allowing successive swallowing easier than with just saliva. Water is a liquid that flows readily, while saliva is thicker and require more coordinated muscle movement.
Yes, with practice, nervous system can adapt to improve efficiency and coordination, though limitations still exist.
Yes, reaction to touch is longer than sight because signal must travel a longer pathway to the brain. More sinus in the sensory pathway, the need for processing in the somatosensory cortex, and the longer nerve transmission times contributes to the delay of the reaction. Spinal reflexes are knee-jerk and withdrawal reflexes as processed in the spinal cord bypassing the brain, whereas cerebral reflexes is pupillary light reflex, which is processed in the brain. The first one is blink reflex, which is involved the cerebral. The second one is withdrawal reflex, which involves the spinal. And the last one is cough reflex, which involves both cerebral and also spinal.
So hello guys, today I will do the discussion about the experiment 1, which is the patellar reflex, or called as knee jerk. So patellar reflex is a monosynaptic spinal reflex that can help maintain posture and balance. So when a tendon is struck, the sensory neurons will send the signals to the spinal cord, which directly triggers the motor neurons to contract the quadriceps, causing the leg to jerk. Other than that, the distractions such as reading aloud enhance the reflex by reducing the conscious suppression, while deliberate effort to resist the reflex can weaken it but not completely can stop it. The experiment demonstrates that spinal reflexes are automatic but can be influenced by higher brain functions.
Okay, the Achilles reflex is a monosynaptic spinal reflex that tests the function of S1 and S2 nerve roots. When the Achilles tendon is tapped, sensory neuron send the signal to the spinal cord, and then the signal directly activate the motor neuron, and then it causes the calf muscle to contract and the foot to jerk downward. And this reflex help to maintain the balance and posture while walking.
During the swallowing reflex experiment, the saliva was easily swallowed for the first time. However, it gets harder for the second time. This is because the saliva acts as a stimuli in our mouth cavity. So, when we swallow the saliva for the first time, there will be no more stimuli in the mouth cavity in order for us to swallow the saliva for the second time. As a result, we have to wait for our salivary gland to produce enough saliva to act as a stimuli in order for the swallowing reflex to occur. However, when drinking water, we find it easily to swallow our saliva because water acts as a stimuli to replace the saliva in the mouth cavity. This is to stimulate the muscle of the esophagus to swallow. Besides, the reason why we find it difficult to swallow for the second time is because our body undergo peristalsis of esophagus to move water down from our throat to our stomach. So, after the first peristalsis, our esophagus needs some time to off relaxation before undergoing the next peristalsis. This is called the voluntary reflex, followed by an involuntary reflex.
The reaction time to such experiment measure how quickly a person responds to a visual stimulus. When the experimenter stop their stopwatch, the subject react as soon as they see the change and stop their own stopwatch. The time difference between the two actions represent the subject's reaction times. Repeating the test 10 times help calculate the average reaction time, which is 0.1043 seconds. This shows how the nervous system processes visual information, transmit signal to the brain and send motor commands to the muscle, highlighting the efficiency of the visual motor response pathway. The reaction time to touch experiment will measure how quickly a person responds to a tactile stimulus. When the experimenter step on the subject's foot and stop the stopwatch, the subject react by pressing the stopwatch as soon as they feel the stimulus. The time difference represents the reaction time. By measuring the nerve pathway length from the foot to the finger using the reaction time, the speed of the nerve impulse transmission can be calculated. The result highlight that touch response generally take longer than visual response due to additional synaptic processing in the spinal cord and brain. The experiment demonstrates how different reflex and reaction time vary based on neural pathway and process indication. Spinal reflex, such as the patella and Achilles reflexes, are rapid and involuntary, which help maintain posture and balance with minimal brain involvement. In contrast, the swallowing reflex involves both voluntary and involuntary control, which requires stimuli like saliva or water to trigger the muscle movement. Reaction time experiments show that response to visual stimuli are generally faster than tactile stimuli because visual signal take more direct pathway to the brain, while touch signal require additional processing through the spinal cord. And this finding highlight the efficiency and the complexity of the nervous system in coordinating reflex and voluntary action.